Okay, it's 6:01. Will everybody take their seat?
Ready to join Team Rocket? New way to challenge values? Then start your engine and bring your A game to the all-new Mario Kart ride at Super Nintendo World. Now open at Universal Studios Hollywood.
Okay, it's now 6:01, and I'd like to call this meeting to order. After I find my agenda. Adam, wait, I missed something. Adam, will you take roll call, please?
Thank you, Chair. Bartolo Square North, Nate Castillo. Bartolo Square South, Justin Richards. Blackstock North, Nancy Rand. Christopher Bissonette, Blackstock South.
Here.
Here remote. And Chris, I have to ask you per AB 2449 if you are with any other individuals 18 years of age or older in the room with you.
No.
Thank you.
I'm by myself.
Bryce Canyon North, John Hike. Cabrillo, Doug Bartello. Thank you. Cal Giesler, Elizabeth Garcia. Carriage Square, Lynn Schulman. Channel Islands, Dave Copper. College Estates, John Beck. Diamond Bar, Dennis Ralph. East Village, Ronald Larejo. El Rio West, Dan Ryberg. 5 Points Northeast, Pat Brown. Fremont North, Dave Ebbett. Fremont South, Jaime Moreno. Hobson Park East, Jack Villa.
Here.
Hobson Park West, Cecilia Ravello. Hollywood by the Sea, Michelle Carrillo. Kamala Park, Bill Winter. La Colonia, Ramon Lopez. Lemonwood Eastmont, Joe Avalar. Marina West, Pat Haydet. Orchard Park, Diana Velzi.
Here.
Oxnard Dunes, Lisa Hewitt. Here. Oxnard Shores, Walt Hagedum. Pleasant Valley Estates, Rosanna Biggerstaff. Here. Redwood, Carlos Quiroz. Rio Lindo, Tim Gingras. Here. River Park, Paul Shenneblin. Here. Rose Park, Alfonso Arroyo. Sierra, Edward Castillo. Seaview Estate, Scott Taylor. Sierra Linda, Sergio Garcia. South Bank, Debbie Arvello. Southwind, Sofia Vega. Tierra Vista, Christina Thomas. Via Marina, Catherine King. Wagon Wheel, Amanda Meir.
Here.
West Village, Michael Gleason. Wilson, Gary Blum. And Windsor North, Andres Sanchez. Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you. And I believe Michael said he might be late tonight. Okay, so Jack is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please rise. Place your hand on your heart. Right hand on your heart. Repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, does everybody have a copy of the minutes? If they take a moment to look at it, and if there's any mistakes, let us know that need to be corrected. Yes.
On page 2, section F, third line in, my name is Tim, not Jim. Other than that,
Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, thank you.
Excuse me, could you guys talk into your mics? Because otherwise we don't hear anything. We're just kind of going as it's a show out here.
Yes.
We're not communicating.
Okay, thank you.
We
Thank
need
you.
you to speak into your mics.
Thank you, Pat.
I just said thanks, Tim.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll move.
Okay, second?
I'll second that.
Okay, the minutes will be approved with the corrections as stated, and date for Wednesday, May 3rd, 2023. Oh, we gotta take a vote, huh? Sorry, I forgot that part. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any nays? Okay, so now the minutes are approved with the stated corrections that's dated May 3rd, 2023. Okay, let's open the floor for public comments. It'll be for 15 minutes, 3 minutes maximum per person. At this time, a person may address INCO on matters within the subject matter jurisdiction of INCO. The INCO cannot enter into detailed discussion or take any action on any items presented during public comments at this time. Such items may only be referred to the Executive Secretary for administrative action or scheduled on a subsequent agenda for discussion. Public comments on items on the agenda will be considered at the time of consideration of the agenda item. Is there anybody who has any public comments? And I don't see who's online, so. Nobody online? Okay, so
No one that wants to speak, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Let's close up the public part.
Chris, did you want to say something?
I had nothing, thank you.
And if Jack Gleason's here yet, does he have any comments? No, okay. So, all right, let's move on. I gotta find my agenda now. Okay, we're closing item D, a new business now, item E. First subject, Neighborhood Council Budget Program, that the INCO general membership receive a verbal report from Samantha Shapiro, followed by question and answers.
Hello. So just a quick update on the Neighborhood Council Budget Program. As most of you are aware, it has been in place since, I believe, May of 2022. So it's designed to provide each active neighborhood council with $500 per fiscal year that can be used for neighborhood communication and engagement. It is available to any active neighborhood council by the bylaws, so any neighborhood that has at least 2 meetings a year and 1 election, which can be included in those 2 meetings. It is an opt-in type program, so if a neighborhood meets the requirements and wants to participate in the program, they do need to complete an agreement, which there are some copies here. I've also emailed it out to all the neighborhood chairs. So we would need to receive that agreement back to order your credit card and enter into the agreement for the fiscal year for those funds. The card can be used for purchases such as office and operational items, outreach materials like mailers, business cards, additional meeting flyers, yard signs, things like that to promote your meeting, and also can be used for neighborhood meetings, so snacks and refreshments, so like light candy, granola bars, donuts, things like that, or coffee, water, and all of that. Each of the neighborhoods can have up to 2 card holders. Usually that is the chair and the treasurer, or the chair and the vice chair, however the makeup works with the executive board. As mentioned, it is $500 allocated per each neighborhood per fiscal year. So if there are 2 card holders, the card amount gets split $250 and $250 per each card. And they essentially work similar to like one of those preloaded credit cards that you would get at the store, where once the funds are gone, the card no longer has any available spending limit on it. Some smaller details, a single purchase that would be over $50 would need to be approved by the executive board of your individual neighborhood in a meeting prior to the purchase being made. So if you make a purchase for like $200 at one store for like yard signs or something, for example, that would need to be approved by your executive board, just so there's a little oversight there. And then just all receipts have to be provided to us no later than the 5th of each month, just so we have a way to track that and get that all submitted in time. As a quick review of this fiscal year that's ending, 26 of the neighborhoods took advantage of the program and had a card Most of the purchases that were made were for the neighborhood meetings, so things like drinks, finger foods, all of that, to kind of provide that for meetings. Additional purchases were made for meeting promotional items like yard signs or those like sandwich board frames, things like that. Some of you, 11 neighborhoods so far, have signed up for the program next year. So if your neighborhood meets all the requirements and wants to participate in the program, we do have some agreements here. And like I mentioned, they're also emailed out. So we can just complete those, and then it'll get ordered, and then we'll make sure to get the cards ordered and given to you guys, hopefully by the beginning of the next fiscal year, if not shortly after.
Thank you, Samantha. Is there any questions for Samantha? Right here, back. Why don't you, yes, go to the mic.
Hi, I'm Tim Gingras with the Real Indo Neighborhood. My question is, I didn't quite catch everything you said. You may have answered the question already. Do we have to fill out a new agreement for this year if we already have a card?
Yes, so each fiscal year a new agreement will have to be filled out. There's, sometimes changes with neighborhood councils and all that through the year. Also this year, they're MasterCards, and going into next fiscal year, they are going to be Visas because we had some issues with certain merchants only accepting Visas and not all of the cards. So it actually will be an entirely new card that you receive this year if you have if you already have a card for this fiscal year.
Okay, so fill this out.
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Amanda.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I have a question. So the cards we have now for this past year, we just tear them up and we'll get issued another card?
Yeah, so it'll be an entirely new card. You can give them to us and we can shred them. You can shred them, cut them up, whatever you want.
All right.
And then Samantha, just for clarification, if there are any unused or remaining balances on the cards, do those roll over, or is it just the 500 allocation for each year?
It's just the 500 allocation per year.
Okay, thank you.
Doug, you had a question? Oh. Is there anybody online that has a question? Oh, we'll let Jack go first.
So these old cards, they're only good until June 30th, correct?
Correct.
Okay, very good.
Sorry, Pat. Did you hear me, Pat? Did you hear me? No. Sorry about that. Pat, are you with me? You got me now? Okay. How do we check what the remaining balance is on this current fiscal year?
You can just contact me and I can let you know. We're able to go in and look, but I don't believe there's a way for you. If you have an online account, you may be able to check that actually.
Okay.
But I can let you know tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Is there anybody online? Nope.
No, Chair.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that may have questions? Nope. Okay, then. Thank you, Samantha.
Thank you.
So let's move on to item 2, E2. Subject, INCO booths at city events. That the INCO general membership discuss coordinating and staffing an INCO booth at city events. And Jack, do you want to start with this one? You want me to start with it? Well, there's been discussion that we would like more outreach, and one of the ways to do that is to have a booth at our city events, such like the Monarch and the Bug. What is it called? Insect Festival. The Multicultural Festival, thank you, Salsa Festival, and things like that. Is there any?
I just wanted to give you a suggestion. You know, they're going to have a music dance in the square, like they've normally done it, but that they didn't do it last year and the year before. Every Friday night, there's going to be 10 Friday nights, and we ought to have a booth there. I mean, it's a great place for people to get acquainted with us and find out all about us, ask questions and whatnot, because there's time. There's bits and pieces of time throughout the evening where people can come over and they won't be interrupting anything and between music groups and whatnot. Okay, so just a suggestion. Even though we've never done it before, doesn't mean that might not work.
Yes. Well, okay. Thank you, Pat. We actually have done some, but it's very sporadic. But we'd like to have more outreach, and I was wondering if anybody would be interested in this type of thing to get further outreach and reach out to our neighborhoods so they're more aware of INCO and as well as your neighborhood councils. So, and if you would be interested in it, what steps would you like to take, and would you even be interested in volunteering sometimes, sitting a couple hours here and there for this type of thing? Anybody? Yes. You got to go. Are these volunteers?
Well, we need to put. He's walking up. I will, if nobody else.
Yeah. Wait a minute. We need another mic over on the other side.
I'd rather have younger people who are really, because here I'm 82. I would rather have the young people because it attracts more young people. But if you get in a bind, you can always call on me.
Okay.
Okay, younger is a relative measure, so comparatively, I am a younger person, but whatever. So anyway, I'm volunteering. Perhaps maybe the executive committee could come up with a list of targeted events, because the city has a whole lot of events. Perhaps we could suggest events, and then be weighted out by the executive committee or somebody else, some other committee. I know there's pop-ups available that you could buy. I've heard that there's a good-looking pop-up costs about $700. I'm not sure how that would be paid for, but we could have the INCO logo put on it. I'll find out more about the vendor with that and forward it to you. And I'm involved in other groups, so I may be doing things at these events for these other groups. Mm-hmm. But if there's no conflict, sign me up.
Okay. Paul?
All right. I'll make this one quick. I'm happy to volunteer for the booth, so if a member of the executive board can send me information about that, that'd be great.
All right, thank you.
I would also be interested in volunteering.
Go ahead. Will you state your name? I forgot it. My apologies.
Lisa Hewitt.
Hi, Lisa.
Certainly interested in volunteering.
All right, thank you. Okay, I don't think this is an action item. Is it? Is there anybody online that would like to chime in?
Hi, this is Chris Bissonette, Blackstock South. I'd also like to volunteer.
Does anybody have any ideas for like tchotchkes? I mean, I know we usually get pencils and little things from the neighborhood services once in a while that we could actually pass out at the at these events, like maybe reusable straws or stuff like that. Anybody? Kim?
Kim Winch with Fremont South. I'm also part of the CERT program for the fire department. We do a lot of the events, so I'd be happy to be part of this and put some of the ideas. Yeah, we put out a lot of freebies that we give out, but one of the things I think would be really helpful is if we had a list of cards that had QR codes, that if somebody was part of our neighborhood, if we talked to them and they said, ooh, I'm in 5 points, and then all they had to do was like, and I know, Diana, you don't like these, but QR codes, and they could just like automatically then email us, and then we'd automatically get some kind of spreadsheet of people who are interested, because a lot of people don't want to stop and sign. But there's a lot of other things that we could probably pick up pretty cheaply to hand out. But I would be happy to be part of this, and I have a list of events that are coming up that we are doing. And if somebody wants to head it, that'd be great. And then we have a list of volunteers. I don't want to do it. I've already got my own. But I'd be happy to be a part of this.
I think you already are.
Oh.
Thank you, Kim.
Hi, Doug Portello, Cabrillo. At my son's school, they use something called Sign Up Genius. And there's a lot of volunteer hours that parents have to do and the students have to do. And it's very well organized, and it helps me a lot because I have to go back and try to remember what I signed up for. So, the Sign Up Genius is, just a website or an app or something that you just go on. And then that way you can put that out as a link, to sign up for things. It just kind of helps you stay organized with how many folks that you need. Like if you have a certain number of people or you need certain items, then you can start filling in those, and you'll see, how much you're lacking or how much you need, and then people can just plug themselves in. So it's one idea.
Thank you, Doug. I'm having a problem remembering this button today. There's anybody else online?
No, Chair.
And do we know if Michael's back in the room yet?
He is.
Does Michael have any thing to offer? Nope. He's not turning on his mic, so he has nothing to offer. So, okay. As long as nobody else has any further questions, let's go on to item E3, subject INCO subcommittees that the INCO general membership discuss and recruit volunteers to serve on the new INCO subcommittees on arts, budgets, governance, parks, public safety, and transportation. And I know we're not quite there yet, but I do know that there are some people here that definitely want to volunteer. I know that Walt's group, he wants to join the, I can't think of it, the transportation, and there was one other one, but it doesn't really matter. But did you want to just speak on where we're at right now, and then we'll go from there?
Sure. Thank you, everyone. So I know I've promised Adam for a couple weeks now to get him the description of each of the committees and kind of the overall general focus. So those are still forthcoming. That is a delay on my part, so thank you for your patience. However, if the general ideas we have talked about prior with the list of them all, they are all on here: the arts, budget, governance, parks, public safety, and transportation. My thought process moving forward is going to be that the subcommittees themselves can also define on particular items that they will be focused on in their individual meetings rather than kind of narrowly focus it. So that's going to be very similar to generalized statements. So the transportation, I'm just going to use the governance committee as an example, that the governance committee will be focused on city and neighborhood relations, improving communication, as well as city services, and how we work within this city organization to better promote our neighborhood needs, stuff like that. So they are going to be very generalized statements that is purposeful. So as I said, the subcommittees themselves can work and within that and specify on an as-needed basis, such as the transportation, if there's an airport issue or something to do with our roads. So I don't want them to be so narrowly focused that it kind of pigeonholes us into an area that we cannot then expand upon. So that is forthcoming. However, if you are still interested in serving on one of these committees, I think that Adam, I'm looking at you, if we have discussed is sending that information to you. to Adam. And we will compile the list. And so each subcommittee is comprised of a certain number of individuals, and it does come on a first come, first serve basis. So if there are 5 members of a subcommittee and all 5 of those slots are filled and you're number 6, we will kind of keep that on the back burner as a fill-in. If for some reason that, another member drops off, then it'll be kind of filled that way. So we will have that list. So please let Adam know if you are interested in serving on one of these subcommittees. We would like to have a wide range of participation, as this is kind of how we will then be getting updates as well as recommendations on future meetings as well as it's a better conversation for all of us, especially as we all face some issues throughout the city in our own unique neighborhood ways. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to take those now.
Ben?
Yeah. Do you want me to go to the...
Yeah.
Good evening, Ben DiBenedetto. I'm the transportation chair for the Oxnard Shores Neighborhood Council. Walt's out of town, Hagedorn, the chair. I know he's interested in governance, and I also know that he's interested in transportation, as am I. Had a discussion with Walt, and he's not sure what the makeup of the committee is going to be, so I thought I'd ask Amanda if it's just chairs that can participate or if it's members of the neighborhood councils that can participate. That's pretty much all I need to know right now.
Perfect. Yeah, no, that's a great question. Thank you for that. So as of now, even though our general membership is, the subcommittees themselves will be comprised of the chairs. However, if for some reason, as some chairs aren't able to come and then they send in their vice chair, another member of their executive board in lieu of their participation, that is okay, but it's really for the chairs of the organizations, since most of the time, not in all cases, but we'll say 99.9% of the time, it is mostly chairs that attend the general membership. However, say if Walt were to be a participant on the transportation committee and say there is one time where there is a meeting and he is unable to attend, and say he then designates another individual and lets the committee know, say, hey, this person will be representing our neighborhood on this particular meeting, that would be okay. But it's not where 2 members of, we'll say, Wagon Wheel cannot be on the budget. It's technically me, if that's the committee I sign up for. So that's the kind of the way it works. Hopefully that provides some clarification.
Okay. And the bylaws do allow for the chair to sub somebody in when they can't come, or if they elect to do so. And but you don't want. Yeah, I think she said it just right. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, Doug.
Sorry, I just still a little confused. So you need a chair for each of these subcommittees, right? So the chair of that subcommittee is a chair of a neighborhood. Is that what you're saying? And
so
then you said.
Sorry, so I'm going to take it in a couple parts because I feel like there's multiple questions. So there's not going to be a chair of the subcommittee. The subcommittees are just a group of chairs within INCO's general membership. What I'm saying is that the members that make up the subcommittee are chairs of the neighborhoods. It's not going to have like a budget chair and a governance chair. That's not how it's going to work, because it's supposed to be very collaborative, and it's going to be up to the determination of the members of that committee to then determine when they meet and all that kind of stuff. Most of the time on some of these subcommittees, a member of the executive board is there. And so we will also help with that, but there's not going to be a specific chair of each subcommittee.
Okay.
The chairs represent the members of the subcommittees.
Okay, so none of the members would just be like a resident.
No.
They would have to be a chair, and then so one subcommittee could be 4 persons, and each one of those persons a chair.
That's correct.
And if I'm the chair of Cabrillo and I can't make it, I can have another member of my executive board, go to that particular meeting in lieu of me, right?
That's correct. It'll be very similar to the bylaws and the makeup of the INCO general membership.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Actually, just one last question. Sorry, because wheels are turning. So, are the meetings going to be under the auspices of the Brown Act on the subcommittees, and are they going to report, and will they allow public comment?
No, so they're not subject to the Brown Act. However, there will be times for the subcommittees to, if there is an issue coming up, that they can come and report to the general membership saying like, hey, our subcommittee met. These are some of the issues that we're talking about. Here's a concern that we had that we'd like to have discussed at a future general membership meeting. Those are the type of things that we're looking for, as well as, I'm going to take the issue of homelessness. Homelessness affects our entire city. It is an epidemic within our nation. But each neighborhood within our city, it is affected differently. The way it affects Wagon Wheel may be different than the way that it affects Orchard Park. So if that is something that as a governance committee we're going to discuss, we can talk about our different perspectives and then say like, hey, this is something, let's start working with the city on this. Then you can come to the executive board at one of our executive board meetings in your general membership, and we can have a further conversation such as that. So it's more of a collaborative effort rather than us just telling you, say, hey, this is the agenda because this is what we think we want to talk about kind of issue. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I disagree. But, I'm not on the board, and it's your call.
Well, that's why we're here. This is a great starting point. This is not to say where the subcommittees are always going to go. We're trying to lay the groundwork because even to get the subcommittees it's steps that we're taking forward to have. I remember you said prior that you were on neighborhood councils and they had subcommittees in LA. The way LA runs and the way Oxnard runs, very different, but we are trying to look at ways of progressing INCO and our neighborhood councils forward that is a more collaborative effort, and we feel like this is one step to that.
And I'd like to chime in, and it may be a little outside of what Amanda's talking, but I'd like to actually see the subcommittee start maybe working with other committees that have things in common. I had a committee member on a commission the other day tell me that they would love to use our outreach. They would love to work with us and collaborate together. And I'd like to see a lot of that outreach, especially with other groups, even outside of the city's commissions. But maybe we can expand that with other groups, and then we can help develop what we can do to help the city with all these issues.
That we can even take before the city councils, like policy recommendations. We'll just take the arts subcommittee, for example. I would love to see the arts committee work with the Arts and Cultural Commission to talk about things, because although there's representatives, as neighborhood chairs, we really do have our finger on the pulse, which sounds very weird in some ways, but very on the pulse of what's really happening in our neighborhoods. And we have a different perspective. And so I think that's where this is a starting point for all of that. And we hope that this will then advance, as the chair had said, to working with other commissions and coalitions and stakeholders. So we can go before the city council and say, hey, we have some ideas as well. Here's some policy recommendations that we'd like to see implemented throughout the city.
Well, that would be great. And the subcommittees had a regular scheduled meeting, and they reached out to the neighborhood council committees that may be doing the same thing as those subcommittees. Then they could coordinate with each neighborhood council that is involved in that issue and help them go to the city, because we really have no way of really dealing with our constituents other than our committee meetings. And as you know, we're not governed by the Brown Act, and we should be. And if we are, then you've got a system. And what you're talking about is the basis of a system, but I would think you'd want to at least integrate with the neighborhood councils.
So that's what this is for. I'm going to jump in real quick. So as my neighborhood, we're the newest neighborhood. We don't have subcommittees. There's 3 of us on our executive board, and we're strong, but we're mighty. Like, at least I like to think so. And so we're not as historical as a neighborhood that has been around since probably before I was born. Like, we're just going to put it out there. And so to really kind of base it off of just this neighborhood subcommittees, which is why we're starting here, and to say, hey, if you already have subcommittees, have your chair join that subcommittee, and then we can start talking about that. And then hopefully the neighborhood councils, as we continue to grow, will eventually have subcommittees. Some of us just aren't that big yet. We have one street in our neighborhood. One.
Well, I understand there are 51 neighborhood councils in Oxnard, or at least 51 areas designated for neighborhood councils. I think there are 39 active, something like that. So, I mean, I understand about, some are smaller, some aren't. My neighborhood council didn't have any committees until a year ago, but we do now. And if we could coordinate with a subcommittee with the INOC, it would certainly help us streamline our efforts with the city and the county and all of that. So that's my only suggestion. You're going to do
that is actually what INCO is for, so the neighborhoods can come to us so we can develop a plan together. However, I do need to clarify with our city attorney, because I'm pretty confident that ad hoc committees are the ones that are not governed by the bylaws, but the standing committees are. I may have it backwards.
No, that's normally the way it works.
Okay.
And I was going
to the standing committees, I think, do have to be noticed, but I don't see that a standing committee has to have a meeting every month. I can see some of the committees saying, okay, we need you to go to this meeting or that meeting, and then they can come together and put their stuff together and then come up with a plan or whatever the scope is of the particular meetings. I don't see that a subcommittee has to meet every month. I see that maybe they develop their plans and they come together maybe quarterly, or it just depends on the committee and what the things that they have to do and their assignments. Each has an assignment. And Jack wanted to say something, so I'm going to allow him to chime in.
Yeah, of course. I'm happy to sit down. I mean, I don't.
Yes, we got to remember the neighborhood council is about our voice and our opinions on. Our voice and our opinions are from the neighborhood. Unlike the CAGs, those individuals are appointed by council. And so that's more representatives of the council having input into an issue, whether it's parks or homeless. These are council representatives. Whereas the INCO, we are neighborhoods. We are voted in by our neighbors, and it's a voice of the neighborhood, not necessarily council. So it holds a certain weight that's different than CAGs. And so if we have committees like the budget or parks or whatever, we have a voice in those issues where the committee that we form can have some input that's separate from the CAGs. And so
and it's another way too, because we're all one individual. It's kind of hard for me to go into governance and to the public works and to all the other commissions and listen to all the meetings. So if we have all these groups developing the information for us and then bring it back to us, it makes it easier for all of us as chairs as well.
Chair, we have Roger Poirier who has his hand up.
Doug's been waiting there. We're going to go.
Sorry, Doug. Go.
No problem. I realize this is just a work in progress, but I did have a question about how you envision these meetings to occur. Like, this is a mixed meeting, so you've got the Zoom and you've got the in-person together, and what might be available in terms of technology if we could have Zoom meetings versus in-person meetings or mixed meetings. Is the city going to be amenable to providing those resources? And then I was also wondering, we have a weekly packet that kind of will list all the different neighborhood meetings and INCO meetings. Would those subcommittees, they would be included in that, or is that just exclusive to the chairs and, not the general public, or, letting the general public, participate in those meetings at all?
No, thanks for those questions. So to the first part, It's really going to, I don't like, my life is run by a schedule and a calendar. And so I do not feel it is my position to tell others when to meet. I'm pretty sure everyone has a calendar full of meetings that they are already scheduled for. So my whole envision for this, and I think so was the executive board, is that say you are a member of, so I signed up to be on the member of the public safety subcommittee, just so everyone's aware of. And so I then would try to meet with the other members who have signed up for that committee and say like, hey, how do we want to meet? When can we meet? When will we like to have our first meeting? I really want to, we're all adults, I'd really like to empower everyone who are established on these subcommittees, who volunteer for these subcommittees, to kind of make that determination. As well as when it comes to setting up a team or a Zoom, that is something that, so even for these particular type of meetings, the city and the state, there are particular guidelines when it comes to teleconferencing. And that is not something that the city council is doing. That's not something even for really the INCO is, yes, we offer these services, but even membership attendance to these, there's a lot other state guidelines for that. So I do not see that the city to do these things. That would be something that if there's needs assistance for that, to set up a Teams or a Zoom meeting, I will take time out of my day and I will help to be like, hey, okay, who wants to help set up this kind of stuff? And again, it would be really up for the individual subcommittees to kind of establish how they meet and when they would like to meet. It's not going to be really the city and or INCO establishing that. And I understand a lot of people are a little hesitant about that. However, it is going to be something that this is also a commitment. And I know that some people are like, well, there's already a lot of commitments. I understand that, which is why it's a very, we're all volunteers. We're all volunteering our time for that.
I think you may have misunderstood my question. I was just wanting to know whether the city might be amenable to providing those resources for Zoom meetings.
The city already does provide Zoom for the chairs. So if, let's say if there is a neighborhood that opted out of it and they needed it for something, I would be more than happy, and I'm sure there's others who have it, would be more than happy to get set up a Zoom meeting for a particular board.
Okay.
And when it comes to the weekly packets, this isn't going to be something that's going to be sent out on the weekly packets because it's something specifically to INCO. So the INCO meetings and the INCO executive board meetings will be listed, but it will not be listed on the subcommittees.
Okay. And then if they are to be in person, like our neighborhood councils, we reserve, like with the schools and things, is it something where there might be meeting places, a conference room in the library or something that we could reserve for those meetings?
Well, I think that does depend on the committee. Some committees might want to meet at Starbucks, but I'm not saying they will. I'm just, but there, I mean, I guess, I don't know if you mean if Samantha is going to help. No, that's something that the committee has to do themselves. It's something, to me, on the committees I've always been on, we've decided where we're going to meet. We've decided how we're going to meet. Sometimes it was on Zoom and sometimes it was at a place. So is that the question you're asking?
No.
Okay, sorry.
I just want to know if the question can be asked of the city, what resources are going to be available? Are we going to have, Zoom resources? Are they going to make, rooms, where we can reserve like we do for our neighborhood council? I just want to know what resources are available,
we can
what
check.
types of meetings we might be able to have.
All right, we can check on that, but as far as Zoom, they already do provide Zoom.
Okay, great.
Okay?
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, I can just tell you, for example, for when it comes to like the meetings, when we did it for the district.
Okay.
District 6 special committee that myself and 3 other members were on, we met at somebody's house to talk about these things. So those are also available to everyone. We will check when it comes to the city to see what we can ask the city to do. But again, I really do want to empower people that this is an opportunity to kind of make these subcommittees a little bit what you would like to see them and what works for you as well.
And before Pat, we got Roger's been...
This is quick. I'm just thinking, we have all of these neighborhoods having these meetings. Some may be concerned that they may not have very many people come to their meeting. Some may neighborhoods decide, well, geez, if we could have a joint meeting with one of our adjoining neighborhoods, and we get together with them and whatnot in the park or something, where you don't have to worry about how many people you're going to have show up. And it might help to really stir this thing up, is just to allow the members of the different neighborhoods to decide, hey, let's do a joint meeting instead of separate ones.
Okay.
Just a thought.
All right. And okay, sorry, Roger. I know you've been waiting patiently. Thank you for waiting.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Chair. I would just like to let Pat Brown know that neighborhood councils can meet together in joint meetings. Hobson Park East meets with Hobson Park West all the time. It's kind of become a regular thing. So you could just do that on your own, Pat, as far as neighborhood councils getting together. As far as committees, I've never been a chair. I've never been a member of the INCO general membership, but I've served on several INCO committees because the bylaws are a little vague. Under the committee bylaw clause, it says standing and ad hoc committees shall be comprised of 3 or 5 members. So it doesn't specify INCO members. It just says 3 or 5 members. Does that mean committee members? Or does that mean INCO members? It's up to the INCO to interpret its own bylaws, but in the past, they've been interpreted to allow non-chairs to serve on these ad hoc committees. So I'll just set that aside for a second. Under rules of procedure in the bylaws, it does say that the general membership, the executive board, and standing committees are all covered by the Brown Act. Ad hoc committees are not covered by the Brown Act. However, all of these committee meetings, whether they're executive board, standing, or ad hoc, all of these committees and their meetings shall be open to the public. So that means if you're on an ad hoc committee, it has to be open to the public. But what does that mean? It's not covered by the Brown Act. When you're covered by the Brown Act, that means you have to have a staff member present to protect the city against violations of the Brown Act. That's why on the commissions, they no longer allow standing committee meetings because they just can't afford to have staff members come to those standing committee meetings. I don't know if the city's come up with a policy for the INCO, but I mean, all of our committee meetings in the past have been treated as if they were ad hoc committees. So we didn't require a staff person present. But do keep in mind that all of these committee meetings are supposed to be open to the public. And that would include public participation, public discussion. Whether or not they're members of the committee, they should be allowed to attend and participate. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you. So these would be considered, let me change my phrasing then. These are INCO subcommittees, in a word, of ad hoc committees because they will not have a standing meeting listed on the INCO agenda, and or just as the membership subcommittee, it is not a standing weekly thing or standing monthly thing because not every neighborhood council even meets monthly. So it's not going to be a monthly thing. It can be considered an ad hoc. That's not to dissuade that other members of neighborhood councils, as in the public, cannot attend these meetings. What we're saying is that the membership of these subcommittees needs to be comprised of chairs. And so, yes, it is stated within the bylaws that is up for interpretation, and it is vague for a lot of reasons, which allows us discretion to determine, just as, and I can only speak on the ad hoc election subcommittee when we were putting on that community forum, they was comprised of 4 chairs. We did not say that the public cannot be involved or attend. What we said is that the membership itself was comprised of chairs. Now, those subcommittees, if they choose to meet at a Starbucks, they can choose to meet at a Starbucks. That does not dissuade from public participation. However, it is up to this INCO subcommittee ad hoc committees, I guess is what we'll change the full name to. So it's very clear. So it's very clear what they are. To determine their frequency as well as the specific topics that they will be discussing during their INCO subcommittee ad hoc committee meetings. Any other questions?
And I also want, I know that there's somewhere in here somewhere, but there is definitions of what a member is, and it does talk about the executive board chair, and they are the members. And then there's language to some effect, members, general members, chairs of the neighborhoods are considered members. Members in executive board are members collectively. I don't know if I just said that right, but I know what I meant. I don't know if you know what I meant, but I know what I meant. But yeah, so the general membership, executive board, which are made up of chairs of the neighborhood, those collectively are members. So I just wanted to clarify that in case there was any confusion as to that. And is there any further comments? Or
Yes. Please.
Okay, is it Roger?
Yes, please.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Just to clarify a couple of things. There's no real difference between a committee and a subcommittee. They're the same thing. A standing, and also it doesn't matter the frequency of when a committee meets. A standing committee is for a topic that is ongoing. Like a budget committee would be an ongoing committee. An ad hoc committee is for a very specific purpose, like if you wanted to discuss Measure E funding for something, you would create an ad hoc committee for that specific purpose, and it's of a shorter duration for like less than a year. But a standing committee goes on and on and on. I mean, they're just always there to talk about stuff. I don't know that a decision's ever been made about whether or not the INCO gets to have a standing committee, because commissions do not. They no longer can have standing committees. This was a decision by the city manager a few years ago. So that's the real distinction. It's the sense of permanence of the topic for the committee. An ad hoc committee is about very specific things of a shorter time limit.
So just to provide some clarification, that the INCO general membership actually voted for the subcommittees to be formed. This was just about membership. So I just wanted to make that point of clarification, that the INCO general membership did vote to include subcommittees. Now we can change the bylaws or change the name of it, but that was something voted by the general membership several months ago.
Yeah, just in terms of the Brown Act or Robert's Rules of Order, there's no difference between what you call a subcommittee and what's a committee. They're the same thing.
So which is why I made the distinction that it's considered an ad hoc committee. I mean, we can change the name from INCO subcommittees to INCO ad hoc committees, which is why I made that distinction in my previous comments.
That distinction's already listed in the bylaws, but regardless, in the bylaws, it doesn't specify whether the members of a committee should be members of the INCO or not. But the INCO can determine that.
We did determine that. That's why we voted on it.
I think so we can continue to move on with this conversation. If there are specific questions, please feel free to email Adam with a CC to me, and we can kind of talk about that. That way, just for flow.
I would just like to close with one point, that the INCO is richer for having participation from people in the community. If you choose to exclude them, that's on you.
We're not excluding them, Roger.
If you don't want to include people like me with 8 years of experience on the Parks and Recreation Commission, if you don't want me to be part of the INCO Parks Committee, that's fine. That's up to the INCO.
No, you're more than welcome to participate and come to any of the subcommittee meetings. What we're talking about is that the general membership that comprises the ad hoc committees, so I can be very clear, the ad hoc committees will be members of the chairs of the individual neighborhood councils, such as are the members of the INCO general membership. That does not preclude any public from participating. There are members of the public that are currently here that are not chairs. What we're saying is that the members who comprise the ad hoc committees will be chairs, such as within INCO. We would love to have your participation in parks, and I can assume that you will be there. So I'm very excited to have your participation. What we're saying is that you as a public member cannot be a part of this ad hoc committee board in any form or fashion. However, whatever terminology you would like to have that. I guess for me as a newer member with INCO, a newer member with neighborhood councils, I'm going to take a point real quick to say, to me, this is a very simple concept. That, hey, to include other neighborhoods and to include participation with different ideas is something that I truly value as being a member of the public who is donating and volunteering time to do this. If this is something that the INCO general membership is having big struggles with, I'm happy to talk to you afterwards about it, because this is something that I really think thrives and was part of our civic group and advocacy for overall issues in our city. So if there are other specific questions or concerns about this, I am happy to discuss with you at a later date. Please feel free to email me. I will get back to you.
Chair, just one last point. When somebody has been recognized and is speaking...
Roger, we've got other people that want to speak here.
Well, Chair, just let me wrap up here.
Roger, please.
Somebody is recognized and is speaking. It's really
Roger, I'm going to have to cut you off. I mean,
you've cut me off several times already. I mean, it's not appropriate to interrupt somebody who has the floor.
Roger, I'm asking you to step back and let the meeting go on. We've already discussed. We understand your point.
Okay, thank you. That's all I was asking for.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I just have one real quick point, and I won't belabor the issue or bring it forward. My point is that an ad hoc committee is a completely different issue than a committee or subcommittee. An ad hoc committee is for a particular issue. For instance, if you have a subcommittee or a standing committee that's transportation, that committee would deal with all forms of transportation, the airport, the streets, bus fare, whatever it might be. If you had an ad hoc committee within the transportation committee, which is what an ad hoc committee is for, it would be, for instance, on the 151 noise study, that alone. So you can't have a standing sub ad hoc committee. They're different animals and they're governed differently, and that's my only point.
Thank you, Ben. Okay, is there any more comments on this? Okay, let's move on. Let's go to E4, the subject, INCO bylaws, that the INCO general membership discuss and vote on new INCO bylaws, including policies and procedures. Actually, that kind of was, we're doing that. But before we get going on here, I want to read Article 8. I turned to my page on myself. Article 8K. Adoption of additional policies and procedures. These bylaws are intended only to provide a basic structure for INCO, not to provide detailed rules or of procedures for the conduct of meetings or other business of the INCO. The INCO is authorized and encouraged to adopt by majority vote of the general membership additional written policies and procedures that are consistent with these bylaws. The general membership by majority vote may interpret and amend policies and procedures so adopted. Now, several of you, the membership was mailed a copy of something that I've been working on, and Jack, it can be handled in a couple different ways. The title of the document was Orderly Conduct and Group Norms Policy. Now, before I even get started, H3, there's a mistake in it. It should read, should a member, not an individual, but should a member. So I just wanted to let you know about that. Now, we can handle this document, or whether it's accepted in whole or part or not accepted, if it's accepted in whole or in part, a couple different ways. This actually, the way written is probably more of a policy, and we could potentially just have it just as a policy, which will be commented upon in new bylaws. So there would be discussion in the new bylaws that this policy exists, or I've lost my train of thought, or we can just add it strictly to the bylaws. But if we do the latter, if we accept it, or accept any part of it, if we do just enter it into the bylaws, I would like to propose that we put this into effect in the interim until the bylaws can be approved by the city of council. Well, in any language that we do change, if we do change any language, the city attorney, of course, will verify that it's first legal, and then second that appropriately worded. They won't change any discussions that we have or intent of our words that we change, but he will change it for appropriate formatting. So with that, I think that's all I wanted to say about it. With that, I'd like to open the floor up for discussion as to how they feel about this document, whether it's something we should go forward with, whether you'd like changes in the whether you'd like changes in any of the wording or taking out of any of the wording, or whether you're not. And if you are for it, how would you like it to be handled? Would you like to be handled just as a policy, or just added straight to our bylaws?
I think it's great just the way it is. Thank you.
Thank you.
I noticed on G that was lined through. So
the reason why I did that is because I didn't want to forget, which I did anyways, and it's still lined through. This is a thing that we will probably be adding at a future date. If it's accepted, this is something that we'll be adding. But the language to the one of the documents hasn't been codified by the city of Oxnard. They're still working on it. And before I put anything like this into something like this, I wouldn't approve the language. I wouldn't approve the document with the language in there. So I plan on taking it out. I just wanted people to know that this is something that in the future we're going to, if we do this, that we will probably ask for an amendment, and whether it's a policy or bylaws.
Okay, so the reason that it's lined through is you want to exclude that line in the bylaws then?
Go ahead.
Yes, for now we're going to exclude it until the city has similar language. Right now, I believe they're working on their language as far as digital communication. And so once they get their language down, we will follow through with similar language to ours. So that's why it was crossed out. Not that we're ignoring it. It has to be, it's going to be done. It's just, we want to follow, we want to mirror the city code of.
Well, the language actually is specific to neighborhood councils. It is. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's specific to neighborhood councils, but that language isn't here yet. So
just so I can make sure that I'm understanding your question correctly. So even though G is marked out, technically H would become G until G would be codified by the city.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
That's correct.
And H would replace G then, is what you're saying? Okay, so my question is, why is the social media code of conduct and guidelines, particularly given recent events, why that would be taken out? And just
that is, well, we actually don't, and that's another reason why I left it in, because this is the city of Oxnard's employee social media code of conduct and rules and guidelines. And so if we wanted to leave that in, we could, but you know, that's just another option. But don't think I have a copy of that yet, so.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I think if I'm understanding everything correctly, is that the reason why G was left in as a placeholder to state that that is forthcoming, this particular language of G in the highlighted section could be added. However, because it is a the City of Oxnard's digital communication and social media code of conduct / rules and regulations, because that is not incorporated into a policy, we do not have a physical copy of that. It was more of a, hey, this is forthcoming. However, this H will actually be G. So that does not preclude from G from being added, but until the language can be codified by the city attorney and by the city council, that then will become forthcoming for a potential amendment in the future.
Okay, so we're not voting on this tonight, is that right?
Well, depends on what it's up to you guys.
I would object to that. I would ask that this be tabled until
It
these
is.
are resolved. So then I would object to G being taken out, because I would like to have some social media code of conduct and guidelines be included in our bylaws. I think that would be extremely important, given what's been happening, where this has come up for discussion and revision. I think that language of having a social media code of conduct be in our bylaws. I think we very much need that language in there. And I'm not seeing that in H.
It's separate amendment.
Okay, it would be, okay. Let me clarify or try to clarify. I just want to, so are you saying that you want the language in now, or some sort of language in right now, or do you want to wait until we can actually get the language?
I would be in support of bylaws that include a code of conduct and guidelines for social media, for the use of social media by members, by e-board members in our bylaws.
So would you be okay with the City of Oxnard's employees' social media code of conduct at this time until such time as the other document is formed?
Yes.
And you would like that right now?
I would.
Okay, I just want to thank you, Doug.
Okay. Thank you.
Is that all?
That's it for me.
Okay. Okay, is there anybody? Go ahead, Jack.
Yes, I have a question on B. When acting in the capacity of a member, all members shall communicate with the public in a unbiased and non-political manner. I thought about that, and I know in the past certain chairs have endorsed candidates, certain chairs have endorsed candidates. Now, does that preclude that writing preclude us from endorsing a candidate during an election year?
Are you talking about local elections for
Yes.
city council? Well, those are nonpartisan elections. So
Oh, okay, so,
on its face, I would think that would be allowable. However, I can confirm that with the city attorney's office.
because it says we can't communicate with the public in an unbiased way. It doesn't talk about elections that are not.
The intent that I had behind it, the language, is that when we're talking to our neighbors, we're not going to promote, we're going to allow them to make their choices, not me come in and say, this is why it's bad. If they ask, I think I want to be as unbiased as I can when I present things that are coming from that needs our public input, free of my bias. And that's where I'm coming from here. Now, me personally, I don't endorse any candidate because I want people to know that I am unbiased. But that is, but like he said, it is a, go ahead.
So it is a very gray area. However, one thing that I've always recommended to people that when I do trainings about this type of situation is you as an individual, as we'll just say Jack Jack could endorse somebody as a community member. However, if you're going to utilize the title of neighborhood council chair and or INCO first vice chair, that is where it is a little gray. And so I'm always the person err on the side of caution. And so if I were ever to endorse someone, I would be like, hey, Amanda Meir, community member, rather than Wagon Wheel Neighborhood Council and or whatever. However, because local elections, unless they are for a partisan office, because the local elections are nonpartisan, technically it's not illegal. And because we are governed through the Brown Act and we were sworn in as an elected from some form or fashion, that's technically not in violation of any FPPC law. But it is murky.
It's murky. Go ahead, Doug.
That's a slippery slope. I recommend you take that out of there. And I think that it would just be a matter, and I think it is worded that, you would just respect all views. But we all have our own bias. And all of life is politics. That's a famous quote.
Maybe we could reword it, but I think...
to say that, I think you're opening up a door where politics could come in and somebody could be removed for so-called political, opinions and things of that nature. And this has already been done at the city council level, and it's a nasty, dirty business. So I don't think, and there's First Amendment protections as well. So I'm a chair of a neighborhood council. So I represent everyone in my neighborhood, right? And
with or without their opinion, you represent them. That's my question.
Well, hopefully with their opinions,
okay.
Whether I like them or not.
All right, that's okay.
Right. So hopefully with their opinions, I encourage their opinions, even when they're not shared by myself, right?
Right,
but
exactly.
When you talk about, that you can be removed for political, I think it's a slippery slope. And as she said, it's kind of a gray, vague area. So I would recommend taking that out.
That's why I built in a buffer here, because when I say non-biased, I'm talking about when we're talking really to our neighborhoods, and maybe we could reword it to something like that when we're trying to present something to our neighborhoods. But I'm not talking about when you're going out there and talking to Joe. What matters is when we're forming this is what the reasoning behind it is, why we're doing it. It has nothing to do with your political opinion or your political opinion. It has everything to do with how we present ourselves to our neighborhoods, and that's what this language is for. Now, I do happen to like the language, and I think it's important, because I think that there is some people out there that say, oh, I wouldn't do that. I would vote it down. I would say to them, you need to say to them, here's the information that I have. What do you think? It doesn't mean that you don't have a right to, if they ask you to give your honest opinion, but when you present it, that honest opinion shouldn't be the first thing. It should be the last thing.
I think I have a clarifying question, and maybe this is for the bylaws, is that I was under the interpretation and impression that neighborhood councils cannot endorse individuals. Is that correct? In a political manner? Is that correct? Like, you can't, I'm asking, I'm not sure. I'm asking as I'm getting to that, which is why I'm asking Adam. Adam, is there something in the bylaws that say neighborhood councils can endorse a political candidate? Like, if you have an endorsement, I'm asking for a particular reason, and this will kind of help. Because if that is not the case, I was told that when I hosted a neighborhood council meeting and I wanted to have local electeds and kind of have a round table, it was not for an endorsement. It was just for purely informational, which is why I like the language the way it is, that it should be non-political, that as if you as a person would like to go and endorse and or talk someone politically, you are not doing so in your capacity as a neighborhood council chair or member of INCO. You are doing so as a community representative, which is why I like this. I don't think that politics should be involved in our neighborhood councils and or INCO, and I think the city council is something completely different because they're a representative. However, if you as a neighborhood council chair talk to somebody in a political biased manner, you are going to endorse a candidate or whatever, you are not taking a full vote of the entire neighborhood council. You are doing that as an individual person, because I was under the impression that neighborhood councils cannot have endorsements. Thank you, Len, because I'm seeing a yes. So if that's the case, then I like the idea and I like the language that we should communicate with the public in an unbiased, unpolitical, or non-political manner, because we're here to represent everybody with everybody's differing ideas, hence a non-biased, non-partisan way. So maybe we can write in a non-partisan, unbiased, well, maybe unbiased is the right word, but in a non-political, non-partisan manner is how I would amend that to make it clear. Thank you.
Wait, say that again?
So it would read, when acting in a capacity of a member, all members shall communicate with the public in a non-partisan / non-political manner instead of unbiased, because I do agree that as Hugh people, that's what I call everyone now, as Hugh people, because we're all people, as Hugh people, we all come with some sort of bias. So I do like the idea of a non-partisan, non-political manner.
Go ahead, Kim.
I have a question. So did you say as you're acting as a neighborhood member or acting as a neighborhood chair?
What section are you referring to?
Yes. So in my interpretation of...
Excuse me.
Oh, sorry. Well, I was reading what it was.
What section are you referring to, please?
I'm going to talk on the experience that I have when I have to talk about Ready and Resilient and the disaster prep, and I'm out there with the city manager. And he was very clear with me is that if I'm coming and I'm talking and I'm representing the fire department, I have to be careful how I talk about it. I'm not going to be issuing my own opinion on what water you should buy or how you should do it. I just need to tell you the facts of what I know. But if I take off the fire department shirt and I come and I meet you in the park and I talk to you as a person, as a resident of Oxnard on what I have experienced, I can tell you what my opinion and my thoughts are, and then maybe give you some places to go do your own research. If you are a chairperson, yeah, you need to be.
And that's why it specifies when acting as in the capacity of a member. A chair is a member.
Yeah, but I'm not a chair, but I'm a member of my neighborhood. Does that mean as a member, when I'm standing, if I'm going to my meeting, I can't say, oh, I'm going to vote for this person?
No, we're talking about chairs right now. We're not talking about.
But you didn't say chair, you said member. So that
well, a member of INCO is a chair. A chair is a member of INCO.
But a member isn't a chair. It's like a finger and a thumb kind of thing, right?
Okay, wait. The very first section spells out who a member is. And it says executive board members, general members of the INCO, neighborhood chairs, collectively members. So it's defined already in the document.
I'll show you. Do you understand my question?
I think I answered her question, but
I think maybe if you could define what general members of the INCO means.
I did. A general member is a chair of a neighborhood. It says so right here.
Right, but so I think I know the confusion here, because you say executive board members, then you say general members of the INCO, and then you say neighborhood chairs as well.
Because we're trying to stay consistent with the bylaws, and that's how the bylaws does it. So we're trying to stay consistent, so there's no confusion. Executive board members are members of INCO. They are chairs. But, and we do have to separate executive members out. They're in here in the definition, but we do have to, because they have different rules, they're different, can't think of the word I want to use, for lack of a better word, but we do have to section them out for a multitude of reasons.
So my understanding is that when you talk about member, that would be any member of the executive board, whether that's INCO or your particular neighborhood council. So it could be the vice chair, it could be the treasurer, could be a member at large.
We're not talking about neighborhoods. We're talking about, this is for INCO. This is for INCO, not your neighborhoods.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm sorry I didn't clarify that. I should have put on here INCO. Okay, all right, thank you. I thank you for pointing that out, Doug. Okay, does that answer anybody's questions? Okay, thanks. Is there anybody else that want to make comments? Oh, this guy, we've been shutting him out all night.
I got questions. Now, that would be 1A, where it talks of the process of removing a chair from the membership. And it says, a member be barred from participation in general membership, executive board, discussion in the capacity as a member. I didn't understand that.
Wait, where are you at? You missed a line.
1A?
1A.
All right, but you missed a line. Where, because it says a member may be barred from participating in the general membership executive board on behalf of their neighborhood for specified time by majority vote for these present and eligible to vote in the meeting.
What I have.
Where are you at? Oh, you're looking at A. Okay, I thought you said 1. Sorry.
1A.
A member may make a motion, a member meaning anybody, because that's defined up there at the very beginning, may make a motion under new business to request that another member be barred from participation in the general membership executive board discussions in the capacity as a member. Such action may be approved by majority vote of the general membership executive board members in attendance. Now, this is clarified at the beginning of H, that this can't just be just because. There has to have been prior, because I do not want this section to be abused in the future. I'm not going to be around all the time, but it's not my intent to have this to be abused. It's for somebody who continues to disrupt, that continues to berate and abuse their powers as a chair within the INCO meetings. This is for INCO only right now, okay? So in the INCO meetings, keeping us from conducting our business. And it's somebody, let's say if an executive board was taken down or was admonished. I don't like using that word. I just couldn't. But let's say if somebody has been disruptive and we've asked them to the chair has her abilities to try to shut people down and to move on. But there are times when it even gets out of control for the chair. And a lot of people have talked to me. There's no way to, there's nothing in the bylaws that we can remove an executive board member, but there's nothing in the bylaws that helps us with our chairs. And this would be like the first act. And, maybe some members are growing tired and then they invoke this thing. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. It's kind of like the same exact laws that's already in the bylaws for the executive board. And I don't know if I answered your question, but I wanted to give you the thoughts behind it. Go ahead, Jack.
No, you helped me clarify what was there. But after looking at it, the last line, action may be approved by a majority vote of the general membership / executive board members. Now, I think it should just say general membership, which automatically includes the executive board.
That's true.
I don't think it should be decided by the executive board only.
Right.
Because if you have, let's say, myself up for being admonished for behavior, now you have the executive board is only 4 votes, and whereas I'd rather see a larger sample.
Okay.
The chairs.
Well, the executive board I was thinking about for in the back room when we start yelling at each other, but that's okay. It's okay to.
Well, I feel comfortable just saying general membership members.
So would everybody be okay if we changed it, such action may be approved by majority vote of the general membership or members, members in attendance who are eligible to vote?
Each member of the INCO executive board is a member of the general membership.
Right.
So
that's why I added
it.
it.
Put it general membership as Jack suggested, that would be inclusive.
Right.
Yes, it would be. So if we just struck the language that Jack, if everybody's okay with it, to executive board, strike that language right there. Is everybody okay with that? Okay. All right. So it would read, such action may be approved by majority vote of the general membership in attendance who are eligible to vote. I think I got that right. So that's okay.
I have a clarifying question. If it's saying such action may be approved, in what type of cases would it not be approved? Or can we change the language to must be approved by the general membership?
Because once a person stands up and makes a motion, then we discuss it and then we take a vote. Okay. And yeah. Anybody else have any questions or concerns about the language in here? The one thing that I thought everybody would have question about hasn't even been discussed. It's great.
One question came to mind as far as like a protest or a challenge to the decision. Would a person have the opportunity to appeal that? Or, would there be a process in which, this could be appealed in some way or protested?
There's nothing in here that says that, but.
Okay. No, I don't, we've never had an appeal process in the bylaws. So
no.
I don't think an appeal process would.
I mean, if we felt we needed one, we could set a policy.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
I don't know where the appeal would go to. Would it go to a committee or what have you? I don't know.
It would go right back to the membership. And so, I don't think it would work. I don't see how it would work. There could be a way, but I just don't see it. But a person who's being admonished like that, and I don't like that word. So I apologize, I'm not coming up with a better word, but they know what they did. I mean, where are you going to appeal to? So if the membership votes yes, then that's the thing. I see this as never ever having to be used. So this is something that you probably never see.
I have rarely had any comment about this at any of our meetings, and I've been to most of them. And it just doesn't happen. So, if it's going to happen, we'll make a big deal out of it.
Of course.
Just to make a couple of people happy. But in the meantime, just let it ride.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there anybody online? Okay. So what I'm getting right now is there's two changes that have been made. One under B, when acting in the capacity of a member, all members shall communicate with the public in a nonpartisan, non-political matter. Then under, now we're going to go, I can't remember, are we deleting G? Or are we leaving part of it in? Or, because I know we're going to leave it in? Okay. But we don't have, are we going to approve something that has, that we don't even know the language of yet? I'll put something like that at the back, put it in parentheses, that can be removed later. Okay, go ahead.
My question is on H, number 2. The executive board may request a review of a member by the city council who may terminate the membership of the individual, thereby removing them as chair of their neighborhood for failure to meet the expectations established in this article. By the city council, is that correct? So it would have to be a vote of the city council? I just want some clarification on that, just in case my neighborhood tries to overthrow me.
Yeah, and the reason why I chose it this way is because I don't want chairs to do this to chairs, especially when, you know, some of us get along, some of us don't. Of course, I think we all get along. But I think that this takes the bias out of any issues that we have, and it leaves it in the hands of the city council. And whether they do it, like I said, this is probably somewhere far off in the future that'll never happen. But I think there could be biases if we did it ourselves. And since the city of Oxnard approves neighborhood councils and their bylaws, it's up to them to determine whether somebody should be removed as a chair from their neighborhood. That takes it away from the members having to do that. And that's, I mean, it takes it away from the members so they don't have to, because I don't feel that members should be going after members. That's up to let's say if we referred something to the city council and they said, no, this person can say, you know, then that takes it out of our hands. That means it's unbiased. If we believe it with us, I'm sorry, I keep on ignoring Jack today. I don't know why. I must be talking to him way too much. So I wanted to take the bias out of the decision to remove them as chairs. I don't think that members should be going after members. And that's my personal opinion. Jack, you have something to say on that?
Yeah, now, so why would you have two if you have 1A? If you have a system of removing someone by council, you won't need 1A as far as the membership voting to
That's
remove.
the worst case scenario. That one is jail time, the other one's prison time. I don't know how. I'm trying to be funny. I'm trying to lighten up here, but
I don't. It's my opinion that the general member should be policing ourselves
I agree.
and getting counsel.
Guess what I found today, though, Jack? In the old bylaws, this language is actually in there. This used to be there.
But there was a reason why it was taken out.
Well,
I think it's so. The way I read it is that from participating in the general membership is something that the general membership. So, say a member is then, I'm going to use the word barred instead of admonished, barred from the general membership participation. That is something that 1 and 1A, the subsection 1A, talk about. But if it comes down to where this problem continues to persist and the general membership already barred them for participating in the general membership meetings, that then it would then go to the city council to remove them as a chair, if necessary, as a chair from their neighborhood council. That's the way I kind of read it. I just wanted the clarification on the purpose of having it for the city council, which I completely agree. I think it you know, as general members, we would then say, hey, you know, we don't want them participating in this member, but we cannot remove them as a chair from a neighborhood. However, the city council does have that ability if needed, and that's something that I think that 1, 2, and 3 should remain.
And 1A can work for most people, but sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you do need to go to item 2. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Doug.
Diana, the way I'm understanding your intention is that H1 is a mechanism for removal, and H2 is another mechanism for removal. Is that the way?
Yeah. Okay. But you're really not removing. For the first step, though, is just like, okay, you can't speak for the rest of the meeting, or okay, you can't speak or vote for the rest of the meeting, or for two meetings you can't speak or vote. Doesn't keep them from having somebody coming from their neighborhood to speak on that neighborhood's behalf, but it would bar that chair or member from, you know, it's kind of like a first step punishment. Like first put them up against the, you know, up in the corner.
I see. So just for a specific meeting, not from removal from general membership.
No, no,
So
we
you're
can't
gonna
do that.
put it on a
There's,
single city council member to do that? To remove them? Or
Pardon,
the
I didn't
entire,
hear.
because it says may request the review of a member by the city council. So you could say the city council, not a member, right?
wait, no, wait,
I think
wait.
in that section, member should be capitalized.
Where do you see, okay, I'm lost now.
On 2, H2.
Oops, sorry, that's the
executive
only
board,
member I didn't do, okay.
H2, executive board may request a review of a member by the city council, right?
Yes.
Okay, or the member in question, right?
Yes,
Okay,
would
very
you
good.
prefer the word the?
Okay,
The and the?
well, it would be the member under question, right? The member,
Yeah.
Of a member by the city council, not
Right.
a city council member.
right, right.
Yeah, I'm gonna remove it, city council member, but go ahead, Adam,
I
sorry.
just think that can be fixed if you just capitalize member. Because
Yeah.
then it brings it back to the preamble of the bylaws where you define.
Right, exactly, I missed that one.
And then put a comma after member.
Okay, thank you. My word didn't work for me this time, huh? Okay, is that all the questions oh, Jack? No? Oh, please. Nobody online, right? Okay, so is everybody okay with the nonpartisan adding, leaving G in placing tentative upon approval language or something like that? Where I know there's some more. Okay, and removing the executive board from 1A, and then capitalizing under 2 member, and then changing an individual on item 3, a member. Now another thing we haven't discussed is, do you want this directly in the bylaws, or do you want to make this a policy? And if we do put it in the bylaws, do you want to approve this temporarily until the bylaws are approved by the city council? Okay, all right, so but my proposal, what I would like to, go ahead.
Someone can make a motion.
Yeah, so does somebody want to make a motion to approve with the changes as recommended?
I'll move.
Okay, do you second?
I second.
I didn't see who put their hand up first. 3 people. Okay, 3 people. We got, I can't see everybody back there. I didn't wear my glasses today. I think you're the first one that approved it. Now.
Who's getting the second?
Jack, I'm sorry. I've been asking all night until I forget, right? Michael has some questions.
Just a point before you ask for a vote. I think you need to clearly read it as we're going to vote on it, because otherwise it's kind of vague.
Okay, thank you, Michael. I love reading. Okay, I don't know what the article number is going to be, so is that okay if I leave that out for everybody? But the INCO orderly conduct and group norms policy. The following group norms are an adopted set of behaviors and procedures that all executive board members, general members of the INCO, neighborhood chairs, collectively members, shall adhere to for the benefit of the organization and while serving in the role as executive board, general member, neighborhood chair, including anyone acting on behalf of neighborhood chair. And then I reference the bylaws. That may change depending on where this is placed in the bylaws, but the article may change. Okay, A, members shall conduct themselves in a professional manner, treat everyone with respect, and act with high integrity, always putting the interests of the city of Oxnard and our respective neighborhoods ahead of our self-interest. B, when acting in the capacity of a member, all members shall communicate with the public in a nonpartisan, non-political manner. C, members shall strive to avoid real or perceived conflicts of interest whenever possible and to disclose them to affected parties when they do exist. D, members shall respect each other's opinions and ensure that all voices are heard. E, members shall act as a body. Policy direction shall only be given by a majority vote of those in attendance and eligible to vote at an executive board general membership meeting. Once a decision is made, members shall respect the executive board and general membership's decisions. F, members are volunteers working together to inform and improve the city's neighborhoods and general governance. Members shall not belittle, berate, abuse any other member, city staff, or city official. To do so would defeat the INCO's purpose to promote and foster cooperation and goodwill. The members shall at all times adhere to the City of Oxnard's digital communications and social media code of conduct, rules and guidelines. I don't know the proper name of that last one, so I'll correct it. And this section will be tentative upon approval of the guidelines. This is H now. Continued failure to comply with the rules of orderly conduct in accordance with INCO bylaws, Article 8, C1 through 3, and as written in the group norms, and having previously been admonished in accordance with the INCO bylaws, Article 8, 8C 1 through 3, and H 1 through 4, may result in the following. 1, a member may be barred from participating in the general membership executive board on behalf of their neighborhood for a specified time by majority vote of those present and eligible to vote at the meeting. A member may make a motion under new business to request that another member be barred from participation in general membership executive board discussions in the capacity as a member. Such action may Such action may be approved by majority vote of the general membership. 2, executive board may request a review of a member by the city council who may terminate the membership of the individual, thereby removing them as chair of their neighborhood for failure to meet the expectations established in this article. 3, should a member be removed in accordance with section H2 of this article, INCO Executive Board and/or the appropriate committee will contact the Neighborhood Executive Board to inform them of their procedures set forth in the Neighborhood Council bylaws in order to select an acting chair until such time as a permanent chair can be established. And that's it. Did we get a second already? Yeah, we did. I'm sorry. So all in favor to approve? Is there any more discussion regarding this? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those not in favor? Okay. Should we take account? Should we take account? It's pretty obvious, but it's kind of nice to have it on the record.
We can go through it if you want.
Yeah, please.
All right. Blackstock South, Christopher Bissonette.
Aye.
I'll just go through the names instead of the neighborhoods. John Hike. Yes. Doug Partello. Doug, yes? Yes. Yes. It's okay. Len Schulman. Yes. Ronald Larejo. Aye. Pat Brown. Here. Dave Ebbett? Yes. Jack Villa? Diana Velzy?
Aye.
Lisa Hewitt? Rosanna Biggerstaff?
Yes.
Tim Gingras? Paul Schendeblin? Sophia Vega is on. Yes, okay. Amanda Meir?
Yes.
And Michael Gleason? That is unanimous, Chair.
All right. This policy, well, I haven't determined if it's, well, this will be entered into the bylaws. It has passed. What's the date today? June 7th. Yeah. So our new orderly conduct and group norms policy has now been passed and will be added to the bylaws. I would like to make a motion to have this temporarily in use from this day until such time as the bylaws are approved by the city council, to have go into effect. Now, there might be a portion that we can't do that, but I would like to do that. Go ahead.
If I'm reading the language correctly, that motion would be under new business. So maybe if we get to the chair reports and everything and get to new business, then during the new business segment, such a motion could be made.
This is what I'm talking. We've been talking about this all day, all night.
Okay, all right.
So
we're doing this right.
Yeah.
So do I a second?
I'll second.
Okay, seconded by Jack. All those. Is there any discussion on the floor about making this a temporary policy? I guess is what it would be at this point until it's approved by the city council. Thank you. In the bylaws. Okay, no discussion. Okay, all those in favor?
Chair, just for continuity, do you want me to go through the roll call again?
Sure, why not?
All right, here we go. Christopher Bissonnette?
Aye.
John Hike? Doug Bartello? Len Schulman? Ronald Orejo? Pat Brown? Dave Ebbett? Jack Villa?
Aye.
Diana Velzy?
Aye.
Lisa Hewitt? Rosanna Biggerstaff? Tim Gingras? Paul Schendeblin? Sophia Vega? Yes. Amanda Meir?
Yes.
Michael Gleason? Mike?
I don't think he heard you.
There, we got it. All right.
Okay, is it unanimous? Yes. Okay, well, it passes. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. Yeah. A lot of work, but we did it. Okay, so let's move on to item F, neighborhood chair reports. Jack, we've been neglecting you all night. Go ahead.
Okay. We have a meeting, Hobson Park East. It'll be Saturday the 10th, and at the Performing Arts Center at 10 o'clock. And that's about all I have.
Doug Bartello, Cabrillo Neighborhood Council. On June 15th at 6 p.m., which is a Thursday, we're going to meet at Cabrillo Park for our neighborhood meeting. We're going to have under agenda items, we're going to have the 150 airport noise study, and we're going to have the Quimby reserve funds for our Cabrillo Park, and we always have our beat officer come. Thank you. Oh, also on August 26th, we are going to have our neighborhood bulky item cleanup at Cabrillo Park.
Thank you. Len?
Yeah, Len Schulman, Carriage Square. We had a successful election meeting on May the 18th with me being re-elected as chairman, 24th time. Guido Gallner as vice chair. I don't think they want to let me go, whether I don't like it or not. Yet. Anyhow, Guido Gallner as vice chair, Elizabeth Gallner, and Louis Diedrich as members at large. Newly elected were Ramona Franklin as secretary and Adam Gonzalez as a member at large. Michael Wolf, Oxnard's director of public works, was a first-time guest speaker explaining the departments he oversees and answered a number of questions from our members. We confirmed 2 neighborhood cleanups, now called bulky item drop-offs, for the year in our neighborhood. They will be Saturday, June 24th and Saturday, October 21st. It was also unanimously voted in favor of holding a National Night Out event again this year on Tuesday, August the 1st. We will hold an executive committee meeting in the near future to finalize the details for the event and plan meetings for after this summer and 2024, when the current school cafeteria will again be available to us. And that's it.
Thank you, Lynn. Paul?
All right, good evening. Our last neighborhood council meeting at River Park tackled the topic of the fence between the neighborhood and the Santa Clara River, and the folks who were living in the Santa Clara River. We had a really lively discussion about that, so much so that between that discussion and online discussions we've seen after that, we're going to go ahead and talk about that again in our next neighborhood council meeting. Our big project for our next neighborhood council meeting on June 28th is going to be annual elections. All positions will be up, including mine, and I'd like to invite members of the executive committee to join us to make it official and all that good stuff. And that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you. John?
John Ike, Bryce Canyon North. Meeting was attempted with Bryce Canyon North and Bryce Canyon South, and we didn't make quorum. So no election was held. We passed out flyers. Jack helped with that, and I had some other help in Bryce Canyon North with flyers. Talked to some people. We met by passing out flyers, and then put things on Nextdoor, and then actually notified more than 200 people individually on Nextdoor, and we still didn't make it. So I'm thinking of other ways for community engagement. Jonathan Martin, our new Oxnard police beat coordinator, was there, introduced himself. And all the discussions were really informal because we had such a small group. Arthur Valenzuela, our council member, was there. There was a brief discussion about the building at 2900 South Saviors Road, and the small group there seemed to like the idea of a police station there. We'll see whether or not the demolishment of the building's popular, but that's another topic. And a representative from the Planning Commission gave a brief presentation on home-based businesses and took a few questions. And then we had a potluck. So if you missed the meeting, you missed my loquat upside down cake and my chili renale casserole.
Oh, no. Hi.
Good evening, Ronald Arwet from the East Village neighborhood. We had a successful meeting on May 31 with the city manager. He gave his presentation. So it was very good to see the vision of the future and what has happened in the past 5 years since he was appointed as city manager. With the school being closed over the summer, we're looking to have a Zoom meeting sometime in July, and elections in September in person. Thank you.
Thank you. Does Mike in the back have any comments he'd like to make? Mike.
He said nothing.
He's okay. Thank you.
My neighborhood is along the east side of Oxnard Boulevard, from the 3rd Street Bridge south, way down into South Oxnard. And we have one big, huge apartment building that's going up right now. And when they get done with that one, then they're going to put up another one right next to it. The manager is one manager who's going to run both and live there. So she'll be there all the time. And so anyway, so I'm going to be putting together some thoughts about a late afternoon, early evening meeting, probably at the Royal Palms out in the back of there, where we have benches and tables and all that sort of thing. So when the weather is nice, not when it's rainy, but when the weather's nice. And so we will be going through, I have all of the paperwork, I've got all the drawings and everything of what these are gonna look like, all the rules and all of that. So for these two complexes, so that anybody that comes to the meeting then will find out right offhand what's going to happen. Another thing that I'm going to suggest to the builder that's constructing this and the city is that because these are going to be one-bedroom apartments, the majority of them, I'm going to suggest they all have a Murphy bed coming out in their living room. I've experienced it. I spent a year doing that when I was in downtown San Francisco at 19 years old by myself. And I know it works. So anyway, that was a long time ago. I'm 82 now. So anyway, I'm just going into my second life. So anyway, we're going to be doing that. So we'll be contacting everybody throughout the whole neighborhood and all of the multifamily housing developments, and everybody will all get together for a plan so everybody knows what's going on and whatnot. So that's the newest thing that's happening with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anybody online that wants to speak? Anybody else? Okay.
Hi, this is Chris Bissonette, Blackstock South. We had a successful neighborhood cleanup, bulk sanitation on the 13th of May. Prior to that, on the 11th of May, we also had a town meeting. Everything was very successful. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Okay. Is there anybody else online that has their hands up or anything? No? Okay, so Orchard Park is having their neighborhood cleanup scheduled for October of 2023, and that's it for me. And you? You had something? I did. Did you do it? Okay. All right. Having no more reports, let's go on to item G, Executive Board reports. The Executive Board may individually report on items of interest or concern. The INCO cannot enter into detailed discussion or take action on any item presented during these reports. Anybody? No? Anything?
Oh, I was just going to say that thank you to everyone who has come out and supported our Wagon Wheel Brewery and restaurant. It's been a very big success especially with the summer months coming up. So I just wanted to say thank you to everyone. And if you have not come and checked out our newest edition, please feel free to do so. We'd love to see you all there, as well as we have a couple new businesses opening up within our community. So,
okay.
Are we an executive board?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just want to remind everyone, if you have any problems with your neighborhood cleanup as far as getting any volunteers, Rebecca does a real good job of calling other chairs to help you recruit people for your cleanup. So don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it. It's always there. It's always there. I was at the where was I at? South Winds neighborhood, helping them, and I think Diana was there too. But like I said, don't be afraid to ask for help for your neighborhood cleanups. Also, I want to thank Diana for all her work these last 30 days. I know this is kind of a difficult time for the neighborhood council, and I don't have to go into why, but myself and Diana have been working behind the scenes on trying to rectify and try to work this tough time out. And so kind of forgive us for not communicating more. We were very conscious of not breaking the Brown Act and still communicate. And but Diana had a lot of work on her, and hopefully I helped her enough to that wasn't too much of a strain. I'm sure it was, but hopefully I took some pressure off you, Diana. So thank you for your work.
That's all I have.
He was a nice post to lean on, so.
I just want to second that. Thanks, Dana, for your leadership. You've been amazing since you've taken over being chair, and I know it has not been the easiest. Chairwomanship, chairpersonship, be gender neutral. But just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Yeah. So, Jack stole my thing that, we have volunteer system now working out with Rebecca. She's, we're reaching out so to help neighborhoods that, because even the best neighborhoods sometimes have problems getting volunteers. So I'm just reiterating what Jack said. Don't be afraid to reach out if you need help with your neighborhood on volunteers, especially for your cleanups. With that, you have one more?
Oh, that also goes with if you need any help with the flyers as well.
Oh, yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask. I was out helping John at where were we at? Bartolo's. No, Bryce Canyon.
I think we did
Bryce
with
Canyon.
with Michael's.
Yeah,
too.
and Michael's too. So any kind of help, just ask. We'll find somebody.
We want to be successful.
Yes. And so, what else? Oh, I brought up the subject to Diana that in the future, I believe the INCO should be recognizing certain residents in the city of Oxnard that do community work. And there's quite a few of them that don't get mentioned. There's some that get mentioned quite often, but there's others that, they do their volunteer work, and I know that there's volunteer work all over the city, and I think they should get recognized. There's individuals that volunteer for the hospital, they volunteer for Little League, Girl Scouts, the churches, and just every kind of organization that's out there. I think those people should be recognized. This city has quite a few volunteers, and they should be recognized by us. And we're the neighborhoods, we benefit from those volunteers, and so I think we should recognize them.
Yeah. Okay. With that, let's move on. Where am I? This is in the minutes. Okay. Future agenda items. Does anybody have any recommendations?
Doug Bartolo Cabrillo. I recommend that we have an agenda item for special districts. It was an agenda item at last night's council meeting, and there were only 3 of us that spoke on J2, and there weren't very many people that showed up for that, but it's extremely important because this is millions and millions of dollars from property owners, and the handling of funds and the knowledge of what constitutes a district and the boundaries, and there's a lot there to take in. And I think it'd be great if we could have an agenda item covering the districts. I know that not everyone lives in a special district, but those of us that do, it impacts our household budgets a lot, and it also impacts the way our city looks, how things are done to provide maintenance for landscaping, lighting, other things. So I think it'd be an important issue to bring to INCO.
And would you want that to be a discussion of how it's paid and how it's paid into, how it's paid out kind of thing? Or what kind of thing would you want them to speak on?
I'd like it to be for us to know and understand what are the special districts and what they're covered under the laws for special districts, and where our money goes, and how we better understand the functioning of special districts and the point persons to contact if there are questions or issues that come up, and just a better understanding, because there's a lot of confusion about general benefit area versus special area benefit. And I think just a broad topic on the special district, so there's a clearer understanding of that of the budgetary process, because that's a levy that's set every year that we find on our property taxes. So I think it's good that property owners and residents understand more clearly these special districts.
Okay, thank you, Doug. John?
I just have one, sorry. Under future agenda items, would that also be considered new business?
Well, yes, I guess.
Okay, so if that is considered new business, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion for the policy that was just set. And I'd like to make a motion that Jean-Paul Magañas be barred from INCO meetings until the end of the calendar year.
He's not a member any longer.
He's not a chair of Tierra Vista anymore? Okay, well, that's good news to me. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, John, go ahead.
Yeah. Yes, John Egg Bryce, Canyon North. I got a notice in the mail a couple days ago about a lawsuit, and my name's not on it. Just a second. And
it's not on any of ours.
Right. So that this seems to be mailed out to various people at different times. And I'm not a lawyer, and I don't play one on TV. And I could come up with a whole lot of conspiracy theories about what this thing is all about. I was just wondering if the city attorney could define what this is about without getting into arguments.
Right.
Are you talking about the water adjudication lawsuit?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, that's a good one, to find water issue without getting into the weeds. Okay. All right, anybody else for future agenda items? Anybody online? And our trusty old cameraman back there, do you have anything that you'd like to add? Nothing for Michael, okay. Anybody online? No, okay. With that, I would like to end of our last item. If there's nothing further, I would like to adjourn. I'm getting used to it.